What's up? What's up? How y'all doing out there? Y'all know what time it is. Your boy Easy Work Boxing about to hit you everywhere but under your feet with this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Nobody's talking no racism. I just give you my opinion in the sport that we love, and that's boxing, man. You know, Teofimo Lopez came off a victory last night against Steve Claggett. You know, shout out to Teofimo Lopez, but at the same time, we got to go in. You can't have them type of performances out here to calling out Terrence Crawfords and Tanks. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot have them type of performances calling out Terrence Crawfords and Tanks. Now I gotta take my words back because of the performance that I seen last night. You know, I was saying that Tank Davis don't scream or yell Teofimo Lopez's name. And I gotta be honest with y'all, you know, right now Tank should be screaming and yelling Teofimo Lopez's name. One thing I gotta talk about is the fact that Teofimo Lopez keep his right hand dropped when he throwing his jab, just like Devin Haney. I was thinking to myself at the time, Ryan Garcia could possibly knock out Teofimo Lopez the way he keeps that right hand dropped in an amateur style when he's throwing that jab. So, you know, I was watching it and I realized a lot of things about Teofimo Lopez. And I said this before, y'all can check out my other channel, Easy Work ENT. He's built off athleticism. Teofimo Lopez is not an elite boxer. You know, he's a boxer. Let's not take away his credit as a boxer. He's a fighter. He's a boxer. But what I'm saying is that he's not a Terrence Crawford, a Floyd Mayweather. You know, a Tank Davis. You know, I consider Tank Davis an elite boxer, but you know he's not that. So Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, you should fire your father. You know, I say it all the time that these fathers are out here, you know, collecting 10%. And as a man, you know, this is a dangerous sport. Your son can get brain damage, to get killed in the ring. I would allow my son to go and train with a boxer who's been in the ring before. You can teach him things that I haven't or I can't teach him. And I think that's one of the problems with, you know, Teofimo Lopez. He's just built off athleticism. There was no training for real from his father, no pedigree, no skill set. No, nothing. You know, you didn't see any footwork. Y'all seen Teofimo Lopez moving, backing up. That's not footwork. That's not footwork. That's moving and backing up. Teofimo Lopez doesn't create distance. He doesn't use his jab to create distance, which shows that he's far behind on skill set because of his father. And I'm not knocking Teofimo Lopez. You made your son a champion and a millionaire, my brother. There's no way that I'm trying to disrespect you or anything like that. But if your son should go to the next level to fight the Terrence Crawfords and the Tank Davis and the people who he's mentioning, he got to let you go. He has to let you go. You know, watching the Claggett fight, I was very, very upset about the performances of the commentators. They called every shot that Teofimo Lopez landed, and I seen Claggett land many, many other shots. And let's just remember this: Teofimo Lopez was very embarrassed by his face and what happened to him. You know, he talked about it before the reporters talked about it. Oh, you can see how I look and this, that, and other. He looked like an anteater. And that's not, I'm just being real with you. His face, Teofimo's face, looked like an anteater from the way he was beaten up. You know, he got the key to the city, but that means nothing. You know, they gave you that because you supposedly from there. But at the end of the day, Claggett came, and I guess you didn't train as much as you thought you should, and it showed up. But he has no ring generalship, doesn't use the jab that much, drops his right hand when he throws his jab. Became frustrated when he had a fighter in front of him that wouldn't stop throwing punches. You know, he said he won't Pitbull Cruz. I think right now that's the wrong thing for him to do, especially coming off a fight like that. Pitbull Cruz has power. We just seen him knock out Rolly Romero at 140. Not saying that Teofimo Lopez is Rolly Romero, but at the same time, he stopped Rolly. So what's to say he can't stop you, especially throwing jabs like Devin Haney, the arrow throwing jabs like Floyd Mayweather commented about, why I said that if Ryan Garcia wasn't suspended, he'll be in a dangerous situation facing, you know, Ryan Garcia. Low Nose Boxing, how you doing, my brother?
What's going on, Easy Work? First and foremost, thank you for having me on the platform. I've been watching some of your content. There was one video you made that was a dope video. It was regarding Teofimo and the satanic rituals that go on with the industry and all that. That was a dope video, by the way.
I appreciate you, my bro.
Yeah. So what's up, man? What we talking about?
I'm talking about the situation of. I feel that Teofimo should fire his father. I feel that Teofimo Lopez calling out the names of Terrence Crawford and Javante Tank Davis with the performance he put on last night. He need to take some time and think about that. You know,
This is my.
I seen a lot
Oh,
of.
I'm sorry, brother.
Oh, you good? I seen a
No, no,
lot.
go ahead. Go ahead. Talk.
I seen a lot of mistakes that he makes. You know, he keeps his right hand down. He's throwing that jab like Devin Haney. You know, he has no footwork. You know, he doesn't control distance. And I think those are going to be problems in the future of him facing fighters like Terrence Crawford or Javante Tank Davis. What's your opinion on?
For one, I'm tired of people talking about him fighting Terrence Crawford out. And let me tell you, I'm like one of the. I got a YouTube channel too, by the way. I just started maybe about a year ago, and I'm one of the few channels that really support To. But
Okay.
I'm also real. I'm not gonna sit there and fanboy. I critique my favorite fighters. I was never on board with him fighting Terrence Crawford. 140 is a money division. Make your name there. Forget about Terrence Crawford. Now, as far as what I've seen, I got good things and bad things that I seen with Tio last night. The bad things I didn't like. He wasn't controlling the distance with his jab. He was just flicking the jab. He wasn't sticking it. He wasn't feinting it.
He
Another
was.
thing I didn't like, he was putting his back on the ropes too much, giving the guy too much momentum, even though he was still dominating, but he kept putting his back to the ropes. When
He
you're
was.
backing up, so
He was frustrated.
when he was backing up to the ropes, T.O. should have been check hooking his way off the ropes like the way Floyd did when he fought aggressive guys, like the way Tank did when he fought Pitbull Cruz, rather than staying on the ropes. I didn't like how when he moves back, he steps back and leaves his hands down with his face exposed, trying to bait you, but he's getting touched with straight punches. And I also didn't like how when he had this guy hurt a couple of times, he let his foot off the gas. Now, what I did see that I did like was he did show that he got inside game. He got very good inside game. I got to give it to him.
Mm.
His combination punching is very, very sharp, very creative with his offense. His defense, even though it was a little slippery, a little bit he made some mistakes, but he did show good upper body head movement. His body punching was good. His counter punching was good, and his stamina looked very good. The way that he was able to fight that type of pace.
Can I ask?
Now, yeah,
Do you think his inside fighting will be good enough to beat Terrence Crawford?
I don't think he should be fighting Terrence Crawford. Period. I don't think
Okay.
he beats Terrence Crawford.
Okay then.
He could still fight the other guys because on his A game, he could match up well with anybody at 140. The Terrence Crawford talk, I was never with that. I'm realistic. Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, doesn't beat Terrence Crawford. That's that. Now, like I said, I feel like he should bring somebody to teach him some more things. It's hard to just fire your father. You don't do that. But you can bring somebody because the best he's ever looked was when he had Joey Gamache with him.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying he. Well, I'm saying fire his father, but also like you said, he could bring somebody along with him that should be his head coach. Teofimo Lopez athleticism is like Roy Jones. He's on another level when it comes to that. But at the same time, he misses the skill set of boxing because he's so talented and skillful with his athleticism. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, he's like another Roy Jones. But if he had a real trainer in there to show him to use that jab, create distance, fight backing up, which is something that a lot of people gonna say he was doing well, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
No, he was doing it in spurts. Like I said, it's good that he does know how to fight off the ropes, but you don't want to spend your whole night on the ropes. In the seventh and eighth rounds, when he was pushing Claggett back and he was shoulder to shoulder in the middle of the ring, beating him up, he would have stopped him if he would have kept doing that. He should have kept the fight like that. Now, there's a video on YouTube by Top Rank. It says something. It's something about Teofimo, how he sets the right hand up. That video was a video breaking down the fight with Comey. That Richard Comey fight, he was on. He was using his jab in different ways to set everything up. And once again, at that time, that's when he had Joey Gamache in his corner. I think he needs to go back to working on some of his fundamentals because athletically, he's gifted. He's one of the most gifted athletic fighters in the game. But he has to work on some things because if he fights Cruz, he's gonna have to be able to pivot and use the check hook when
Not,
Cruz is coming in. You're not just gonna stay on the ropes like that against Cruz.
not just check hook. He's gonna have to really punch off angles, and that's something he didn't do. I only seen him do it one time against Claggett. He's gonna have to punch off angles. He's gonna have to use that jab, create distance. To beat Isaac Cruz, you can't let him get close to you. If he gets close to you, do your offense and clinch him. Once Isaac Cruz gets close to you, you losing on points because he's gonna throw so many punches. It's gonna look as if he's just beating you up.
Exactly.
Also, this did you notice on the top ranked commentators that they didn't really pay attention or bring out as many punches as Claggett landed?
Well, what's the guy's name? The fighter, the former fighter, Algieri. He said some things because there was some times when Claggett did get some shots off.
Yes.
Because that was with the thing with Teo was right. There was some instances where this guy was saying every time Teo landed a good shot, he was just standing there waiting for the receipt. When he landed them good right hands, good uppercuts, he was supposed to roll out immediately instead of staying there and admiring his work. Chris Algieri kept saying that. And those are the instances where he was getting hit. If he would have been rolling underneath every time he was throwing his shots, he would have gotten hit a lot less because he did show good. He showed improved defense since the Lomachenko. His head movement is a lot better. He catches punches well with the right hand, but sometimes he could be a little lackadaisical.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. I'm sorry. Seeing it, even though Sergio Matias just recently lost, Sergio Matias' style is a kung fu style with power. And we seen what just happened with Teofimo Lopez with his eyes swollen. He looked like an anteater to me, the way the guy had him looking. Do you think, in your opinion, that if Matias would have been in that fight with him last night, that Matias would have possibly knocked out or hurt Teofimo Lopez?
Well, for one, Matias is he's one of my favorite fighters. Also, he's Puerto Rican. But once again, I always said that I think Teo beats him based on style. Subriel starts slower than Claggett. Actually, Claggett has a better gas tank than a lot of fighters. He start off the rip. He just don't got the power of Subriel. Subriel gives away rounds early, and that will cost him against Teo. And I'm not sure if Subriel got the chin that Claggett has. And Subriel probably gets hit more than Claggett because Subriel, he commits more to his power than Claggett. So I think Teo would beat Subriel. I think he'd probably stop him, in my opinion. If he's on his A game.
If Claggett would have had more power, Teofimo would have had a trouble tonight last night. He would have had a horrible night last night if Claggett had power.
It would have been a tougher fight.
Teofimo was getting caught with jabs. I seen him get hit with 2-3 jabs right behind each other. Not saying that Teo didn't win. I'm not taking his victory or nothing like that. But Teofimo Lopez was getting hit a lot last night. If that would have been a power puncher, we would have probably seen a different fight.
That's why the thing I didn't like when he was walking back, and he walked back sticking his face out with his hands down. That's when he was getting hit with those straight shots. I don't like when he was doing that. When you're moving back, he should be moving back, working the jab. When you're out boxing somebody, you got to do what Pernell Whitaker. If you ever watch Pernell Whitaker fight, Pernell Whitaker wasn't a guy that will back up. Pernell Whitaker would step back, pop with the jab, and move in a circular fashion, which is called boxing circles around your guy. Teo got to work on that. What I will say, this is a blessing in disguise because if Teo was going to fight, let's say a Gary Antoine or Subriel or Pitbull, this was a good tune-up for that to set him up. He just got to work on some things.
Teofimo is a front runner. Don't nobody want to say it. It happened in the Lomachenko fight. He's a front runner. The last 5 rounds out of 7 or 6, Lomachenko was tapping on his head. He's a front runner. I hate to say it. I'm a fan of Teofimo Lopez. You seen my video, like you said.
Yeah, I see you.
I spoke greatly of him. I'm not sitting up here just talking bad about Teofimo Lopez. He's
I
a
know.
front runner. He's a front runner. He's gonna be good
With the,
7, and after the first 7, he's gonna be in trouble.
with the Lomachenko fight, I gotta disagree. Lomachenko did come on late, and once again, Lomachenko is a special fighter. When I saw that fight, the way I scored it, I gave Teo 1 through 7, whitewashed him, and then I gave Loma three out of the last 5 rounds. I gave Loma rounds 8. Round 9 was close. I gave Loma 10 and 11, and then Teo turned. He bit down on his mouthpiece and turned it around in the 12th round.
Okay,
So I
possibly,
wouldn't.
possibly so. I ain't
I,
seen it in a long time.
yeah, so I wouldn't say that it was a front run. It's just that the way that Loma dominated those 3 rounds, he beat him up those 3 rounds pretty good. So you would think it's a close fight. But me personally, I only gave Loma 3 rounds out of that whole fight. But the way that he won those rounds was in such convincing fashion that you would think it was a close fight. You feel what I'm saying?
Can we bring up this factor too? You notice that even though he said he wants to be unified and fighting Pitbull, and Tank and Terrence Crawford and other fighters, he never mentioned Shakur Stevenson. So how do you feel he'll do against Shakur Stevenson in a unification fight?
I think styles make fights. I think that would be a boring fight. It'd be a boring fight because, for one, Teo doesn't know how to cut the ring off good. Until he shows me that he could effectively cut the ring off like Canelo, like Tank, he doesn't cut the ring off good. And then you got Shakur, who's also one of my favorite guys. Shakur doesn't like speed and power. So you're going to have a fight where you got 2 guys. You got one guy, if he takes his Teo's power, he's going to go on the back foot. He's going to move around a lot. So you're going to have a guy running against a guy chasing that doesn't know how to cut the ring off. He's going to make for a boring fight. And then the judges are going to give it to whoever they want to give it to.
We can't really say that Teofimo has power at 140 because he's stopped nobody at 140.
Well,
he stopped nobody.
He doesn't have the same power he had at 135.
I think Shakur Stevenson will create distance by that jab, and he will stand in front of at the same way, because the blueprint right there showed you something last night. If you pressure Teofimo Lopez and stand in front of him, he gets frustrated. Shakur Stevenson, even though it's De Los Santos and the fighter who had the power, I can't think of his name, the African fighter or something.
Nakatilia,
yeah. When Shakur Stevenson fights you, he stands in front of you literally and bags you up and literally beats on you. And I think that Shakur Stevenson will come out on top against Teofimo Lopez.
That's very possible, but the pressure that Claggett puts is a different pressure. Claggett sort of almost smothers you. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't fight you in arm's length. When guys fight Teo in arm's length, that's when he's able to counterpunch effectively. With Teo's power, it doesn't look the same as he did at 135 when he was more of a one-punch guy. But to his credit, even though he only had 1 stoppage at 140, he did hurt Josh Taylor a few times and arguably knocked him down. They didn't score the knockdown. He has power where he can hurt you, but he's not a one-punch guy at 140.
You know something that's funny? When everybody talks about Shakur Stevenson, the first thing they mention is power. But when no one mentions the fact that he's elite as far as a boxer. Floyd Mayweather didn't have power. He had
underrated power. Floyd did have underrated power.
That's what the talk of Floyd Mayweather was. Floyd didn't have power and this and that, but Floyd left the game, in my opinion, at 49-0, being great champions. So I don't understand why is it that people are so focused on Shakur Stevenson power, but he goes out here and literally beats the hell out of opponents, and they have no chance of beating him at all. The man just won a fight where he didn't even have to really throw punches. If that don't show that you're a hell of a fighter, even though
he's a hell of a fighter.
Even though people may criticize it, if that don't show you a hell of a fighter, then I don't know what else to tell people. But also, Shakur Stevenson, like Teofimo Lopez should have did this yesterday. Shakur Stevenson has to come out and show the public that, hey, he has to go out there and put on a devastating performance because he's fighting a fighter that Frank Martin beat. So he has to go out there literally and show and put a punishment, like a whooping on this dude that he fight next.
Yeah. The difference between Floyd Mayweather and Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter, I think Floyd is levels above the best fighters today because Floyd comes from the old school. Floyd Mayweather trusted his defense more than Shakur and these guys. Shakur's defense is very, very good. He likes to step back with his, he understands distance. But I haven't seen Shakur slip in the pocket and trust his defense in the pocket despite the other man's power. See, Floyd trusted his defense more. So did Tony, so did Benitez, so did Pernell. They didn't care how hard you was punching. They trusted their defense where they can slip in range, but they slip just enough to make you miss and they can get their shots off rather than just jumping out of range. Because sometimes too much movement can cost you the fight. Floyd Mayweather is not like any of these guys today. Same with James Toney, same with Pernell, same with Wilfredo Benitez. Because when I think about guys with defense, that's the top tier defenders I've seen in boxing. So I wouldn't compare Shakur or anybody with Floyd.
I would
Now,
compare due to his stats as being a fighter that's not being hit that much. He's one of the
different
top.
levels.
He's what different levels as far as defense. But in today's time, in boxing today, Shakur is the only fighter with the percentage that Floyd Mayweather had and not getting hit.
Yeah, absolutely. But Shakur didn't fight the level of guys that Floyd fought at that time. For today's generation, Shakur Stevenson may have the best defense in boxing, in my opinion, because he got good legs. Once again, he understands distance. Now, out of those fantastic four, I would say fantastic five now, because you got to throw Ryan in the mix. I feel Tank Davis is going to be the last man standing at the end of the day. I think Tank Davis is the most complete fighter out of all of them. Now that he's officially he's really focused since he had his child. I think Javante beats Shakur. I think he beats Teo. He'll put Devin Haney to sleep, and he already took care of Ryan Garcia.
Well, what you said, he already took care of Ryan Garcia.
He already took care of Ryan Garcia.
I'd like to see Tank and Ryan at 140, or well, Tank, in my opinion, will never go past 140 because he's too small. But I would love to see a rematch with no rehydration clause. I still think Tank that will probably come out on top because of his skill set and the fact that Ryan was rushing and doing too much in that fight. That's what got him dropped and beat. But I still would like to see a rematch between them two.
Yo, how do you see a fight between Teofimo and Ryan Garcia going? How did that fight play out to you?
Ryan Garcia knocked Teofimo Lopez out.
Yeah, how you see that happen? Like, what do you see? Tell me.
As I watched the fight last night between him and Claggett, Teofimo Lopez, if I am mistaken, was he in the amateurs or did he go to the Olympics?
I think he was in the amateurs, but he represented Honduras in the Olympics.
Teofimo Lopez does the same amateur style arrow throwing stuff that Floyd Mayweather does with say about the jab. If you go back and you watch the Claggett highlights between them, he was basically throwing the jab with no defense behind it, with his right hand being dropped. Ryan Garcia would capitalize off that.
But don't you think Teo's more athletic, and he's also shorter than Devin Haney? I think Teo would do a better job getting underneath the jab than Devin Haney did. And he has the power to hurt Ryan Garcia, unlike Devin Haney.
We can't say that Teofimo has the power at 140. He ain't stopped nobody at 140.
He stopped Pedro Campa.
Who? Pedro Campa.
Pedro Campa took Brandon Lee life and death.
Okay.
He'll knock him out with a jab. You know what I'm saying? And even though he didn't stop Josh Taylor, he arguably dropped him, and he was knocking him all across the ring. Like, people not walking through his punches. Like, Teo, yes, his power is not the same, but we can't put Teo and Devin Haney's power in the same conversation. When we talk about Devin Haney, we're comparing his power with Paulie Malignaggi. When we talk about Teo at 135, the biggest punches there at the time between him, Tank, and Ryan Garcia. Devin's not in that conversation, so I wouldn't put Teo in that conversation as he don't got no power. He just doesn't have the same power as he had at 135. But if you're fighting a guy with a weak chin, he's gonna knock you out if you got a weak chin. And Ryan doesn't have the best chin.
I'm not saying he doesn't have any power. I'm just saying since he's moved to 140, we don't see it as much like we seen. You gotta remember his power. He stopped Lomachenko for 7 rounds because he had power. He knocked out Richard Coleman. You know, but at 140, and this is something like I gotta say about the Gary Antoine situation against Puello. Once fighters move up and fight elite fighters, everything changed. We just seen this with David Benavidez when he moved up to 175 and actually fought a fighter at his natural weight class. And we didn't see the same monster that we've been seeing. So when you move up in weight, you lose something. You lose power, you lose speed, you may lose something. I'm not saying Teofimo doesn't have power at 140. But what I'm saying is it doesn't look like it was there like it was at 135.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But the reason why I mentioned that with Ryan, because I think if you put Teo in there with a guy at 140 that doesn't have the best chin, I think Teo can get him out of there. If Teo's in there with a guy that got a good chin and has defense, he might go the distance, especially if he's on the back foot. Because when you're on the back foot, it's hard to punch. It's hard unless you know how to plant your feet. Because Tank was on the back foot against Rolly, but he'll move back, but then he'll stop and plant his feet and run you into a shot. When Teo was backing up, he was doing a lot of punching off the ropes, so he couldn't really get the kind of leverage. But in the 7th and 8th rounds, when he stood his ground in the middle of the ring, which he should have done more, that's when he really started putting a hurting on Claggett. And that's when his power was starting to show, but he didn't do enough of that. Against Ryan Garcia, I don't think Ryan Garcia got Claggett's chin. Even Devin Haney rocked him in that fight. I think Teo will hurt Ryan.
What is that showing about Teofimo Lopez if Tank is doing it and Teofimo Lopez is not fighting off?
Tank is a bigger puncher. Tank is special, man. You got to mention Tank with, certain guys like when we talk about special guys that were able to move up and carry their power, we're talking about Roberto Duran, who turned pro at 119 pounds, became a champion at 135 and was still putting guys out even at 160. Tank might be one of those type of guys. I don't think Tank's going to go to 160, but Tank, just like Manny Pacquiao, also a smaller guy that was able to move up and carry that power. Not everybody does that.
Tank
those few fighters
not even going to go to 147. Yeah. 147 will be too much for Tank. He's too small. His height.
Yeah, that's why we got to admire guys like Duran, man. Duran was, like I say, Duran turned pro at 119, bro. I always thought he turned pro at 135. I did my research. He turned pro at 119, became the champion at lightweight, champion at welterweight, and he even dropped Iran Barkley at 160, who was a big middleweight. So some guys carry the power, some guys don't. I think Teo's going to rely more on his athleticism and speed and boxing skills to beat these bigger guys.
I don't think it's carrying the power all the time. I think it's how do you punch. A lot of fighters are not trained on how you're really supposed to punch. And I think that Roberto Duran really learned how to punch.
Yeah. He had better Duran had better technique and better fundamentals than Teo and a lot of guys today. And Duran was also heavy-handed at that, but he had very big fists. And once again, he knew how to turn his punches over. And it's about having elite power when you can counter and still have the leverage and the balance to put that torque behind that power, behind that punch. And Duran had that. And a lot of guys don't have that. Tank has that, though.
So let me ask you, what should be next for Teofimo Lopez? What you think his next fight should be? Who you
got options. Me personally, for his sake, and as a fan of Teo, because I'm a real dude, bro. But hey, when people say we're not fans, listen, we watch the sport. We all fans. We all got our favorite fighters. For me, even though Kambosos got stopped by Loma, just for Teo to get that monkey off his back, to get rid of those demons, I think he should get a Kambosos fight. Give him a shot, even though Kambosos don't deserve it. Come in there on your A game and blow that dude out of there. Get your confidence all the way back. And then I would like to see, because it's a good fight if they market it right. Keyshawn.
I don't think so. I think that's the wrong rematch. I think that Kambosos literally beat Teofimo. And then, this is what I didn't like what Teofimo did after the fight last night. Oh, I have asthma. Don't bring that up because you didn't look good. I think that going against Kambosos again and the way that they train for Kambosos, when I seen Teofimo Lopez do his his Sub-Zero sliding jab and he got caught and knocked down, it really showed that Kambosos' team really trained and were prepared. Remember, it was a long layoff before that fight happened. Yeah. They had enough time to train for Teofimo Lopez.
The original date was for June.
I think that was just them preparing Kambosos for whatever and saw whatever Teofimo Lopez will bring to the table. I think it's the
wrong. Like that rematch?
No.
Why?
Because if he beat him again, we're gonna get another excuse.
So you think Kambosos could beat him again?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know. I mean, from what I heard, he had some health issues and stuff like that. I think Tio beats Kambosos in a rematch decisively if he fights the right fight and he's in shape. He trains, but if he
They,
fights the right fight, he beats him. I think he knocks him out.
they all have health issues when they lose. If you ain't paid attention, they all have health issues when they lose to a specific fighter. He said he had long tears, he had this and that. Well, if I'm a fighter and I'm undefeated, I'm not jumping in the ring with all these disadvantages going against me against a fighter for my title. I'd rather postpone it again than get in there with, long tears and this and that, get in the ring.
So you don't like that fight at all?
No, that's a bad fight for him. Because if he get beat again,
it's gonna look bad. Yes, I agree
it's
with
gonna
you. It's gonna
look
look bad.
Same way with Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Wilder should have, after the first fight, Wilder's supposed to let Fury alone. He really won it.
But the difference between the Wilder and Fury, like Wilder, besides the knockdowns, he was like dominated. You know what I mean? With Tio and Kambosos was really a close fight that could have gone either way. They both knocked each other down. I think you're right. It's dangerous because if he goes in there, takes him lightly again, or whatever the case may be, and loses again, it's going to be a bad joint for him. But if he goes in there and trains for Kambosos like he's training for Tank Davis and takes him seriously and gets him out of there the way he's supposed to do, then that right there, and life is a risk, bro. You got to take risks. That right there is going to give him a big boost of confidence that he really, whether he has it or not, it's something that he could use just to put an end to that demon.
With Wilder and Tyson Fury in the first fight, yes, I feel that Wilder was clearly outboxed from skill set, but also this. Wilder knocked out Tyson Fury in that 10th round. Wilder knocked him out. Wilder should have took that draw, whatever, but knowing that you really won, it will still be talking about it to this day that Deontay Wilder really won that fight from that count. He should have left it alone then. I feel that if Teofimo Lopez jump back in the ring with Kambosos and he loses twice, it will tarnish him.
Because it's a risk you got to take. It's a risk you got to take. You win big or you lose big, bro.
It's a risk he got to take. But if he loses again,
it's not going to be good.
Excuses.
I feel you on that. And like I said, me personally, I would like that fight. But let's say if it's not Kambosos, I would like, for being that Keyshawn's been calling him out and they have a little storyline going on, I would like for Keyshawn to get a fight at 140, being that he won't fight his friend Shakur. Let Keyshawn fight Elvis Rodriguez, right? If he could, because Tio's not, I don't think Tio's gonna come back in September now. He gotta heal up. He got damage to his eyes and stuff like that. Let Keyshawn take on Elvis Rodriguez. And if Keyshawn can beat Elvis Rodriguez, I would like him and Tio in December.
Keyshawn Davis got 135 problems. We got Andy Cruz, we got Frank Martin, people who he didn't call out. I know Frank Martin probably might not be in his
he called Tio out though. He called Tio. He don't want to fight Shakur. Shakur is his friend. So move up to 140.
Kid Austin, he was talking trash about Kid Austin. Andrew Cruz is there. He got stuff to handle at 135 before he think about 140. Yeah, I think Keyshawn Davis is just a talker. He talks a lot. He picks. He says, and I want to fight Teofimo Lopez, and then he go fight somebody we don't even know.
But the thing with this, right, is that we don't see prospects fight prospects. We don't hardly see contenders fight contenders. Keyshawn Davis against Andy Cruz, Keyshawn versus Kid Austin, and those fights are not championship fights. I don't see those fights happening. He's not going to fight Shakur Stevenson because that's his friend. Tank Davis is on the other side of the fence. Lomachenko is lined up for Tank Davis. If Keyshawn really want to fight Tio, he can move to 140.
He admires Shakur Stevens too much. He penis rides Shakur Stevens too much. And from what I heard from the grapevine, not personally, what I've seen from the grapevine, is that Shakur Stevenson put him on his ass before. So I can understand why he's cheerleading for Shakur Stevenson. But at the end of the day, why don't you call out Shakur?
All right. So if we're gonna X out, like you said, we're gonna X out Kambosos and Keyshawn Davis. For Teofimo, then I would like to see at 140. Let me see who's there. I would like Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz.
But Teofimo?
Yeah, man, you gotta take chances to be great. Pitbull Cruz or believe it or not, I would even take Sabril still because Sabril didn't really get demoralized like that.
From what I saw last night, Teofimo Lopez will lose to Isaac Cruz.
Still gotta see it.
More power and the same physicality.
Still gotta see it though, you know.
Still got to see it, but I understand what you're saying. Still got to see it.
I'm not gonna cherry pick for my boy. You know, I'm confident in Tio when he's against the real threats. You know, and
the way he fought last night, Pitbull got him.
You think he stops him?
I can't say if he'll stop him or not. I've never seen Teofimo Lopez hurt, staggered, or anything like that. But I'll say in a 12-round decision that what's his name? You know, Isaac Cruz, Pitbull will win.
You know, that's the only common opponent with the other guys that I would like for Tio, because you know how when Floyd and Manny were building up, Manny was going after all the guys Floyd fought, right? Because Floyd wasn't knocking dudes out. So Manny said, let me stop these guys. When you look at the guys, the rivals between Tio, Tank, and them guys, right? When people were first talking about Tio versus Tank, before Tank beat Devin Haney, I never liked that fight for Tio because you're competing with Tank. You're not going to outdo what Tank did. And if you struggle with Ryan or lose to him, it's going to be a bad job. That's the same.
First, with Tank Davis, I think we hyping Tank Davis a lot up too much. And I respect his victory, but we got to remember, he basically fought an amateur his last fight. Not taking no
Frank was decent.
Tank is decent, very decent.
No. I think Frank was decent. He wasn't a bad fighter.
Frank was decent.
Frank was pretty decent.
He was right. But Frank had no real experience. Frank wasn't in the amateurs like that. Frank won the gold medalist went to the Olympics. Frank was a black fighter that we've been screaming about for him to fight. Very good pick. But a guy that started when he was 18 and you've been boxing since you was 7, he was supposed to win.
And he was mentally broken going into that fight. He was already intimidated.
Oh, no. Who was mentally intimidated?
Frank.
As far as what? You mean like coming off a loss intimidated?
No. Wait. Going into the Tank fight, Frank Martin looked like Tank already got in his head.
Yeah. He may have disbelief in himself. Did you see on a $1 Million Worth of Game podcast?
I see that.
How he was sitting there talking to Tank, and he was, instead of him being disrespectful, he was trying to talk as if he was trying to make Tank understand him. I knew then he was gonna lose.
Yeah, I ain't like that. And like I said, Tank Davis is a fighter that I'm guilty of criticizing his resume at one point, but his resume is aging pretty good, man. And at the end of the day, you gotta admire what Tank is doing. Tank is one of the most consistent performers in boxing, hands down.
He's not. Mario Barrios at a rehydration clause. Ryan Garcia at a catchweight rehydration clause. Really an amateur black fighter named Frank Martin. That's not a top resume. Lomachenko is a top resume. Canelo Alvarez in boxing right now is a top resume. Some people don't consider it, but if they really knew boxing, Terrence Crawford is a top resume. What Tank is doing is cherry picking opponents and winning. That's what.
So Tank, you think Tio got a better resume than Tank?
Hell yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Hell yeah.
He beat Loma when Loma was top 3 pound for pound.
When Tank wouldn't even go his way.
And when Tank beat Mario Barrios, remember Tank started talking crazy about Josh Taylor, and then Leonard Ellerby said Josh Taylor brings nothing to the table. Remember that? When
he won that, he wasn't talking about crazy to Terrence Crawford too. And then he came back and said, "What? I was just playing. I was just talking. I know you was."
That's why, being that we're both here, we're discussing Tio, we're critiquing him and giving him his props. We got to admire the fact that Tio got the balls to fight Terrence Crawford. I don't care what anybody say. When he calls somebody out, I believe him because he's shown me. He's shown when he calls you out, he gonna fight you if you're gonna give him the opportunity.
We can admire it all day, but from the fight we seen last night, you shouldn't mention his name no more.
No, he ain't beating Terrence Crawford. I don't think he beats Crawford.
Terrence Crawford will get that boy brain damage.
Yeah, I don't like that fight for Tio, man. Tio needs to worry about 140. I'm
a fan of Teofimo Lopez. Terrence Crawford will give Teofimo Lopez brain damage.
Put it this way, Terrence Crawford. I had this discussion with one of my other boys, right? I'm cool with punch drunk boxing. Me and him go back and forth about it. He always advocates for Tio versus Crawford, and I'm always playing devil's advocate. Like, nah, I'm not with that. My thing is this: Terrence Crawford dominated Errol Spence so bad that you got people that actually give Crawford a chance against Canelo. That's how bad he beat Earl. So you want to tell me Tio gonna fight him?
Who did Punch Drunk pick against Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence?
He picked Crawford.
He picked Crawford. Okay, then he know about boxing. Because all these channels that pick Errol Spence don't know nothing about boxing.
You know what's crazy? You said that on a long time ago. I was on another channel talking, and this is like maybe a year before the fight. I said that Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence is going to turn into the biggest mismatch out of any big fight that was anticipated. It's going to be a mismatch. And people were laughing at me. They was calling me all type of names, telling me I don't know about boxing. And sure enough, look what happened. Terrence Crawford, to me, from what I've seen, he's a fighter that you can throw him in any generation. When I was watching some of the moves he does things that Roberto Duran and Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler, things that they do. He has real old school skills. Terrence Crawford's on a different level than a lot of guys. The only guy that could beat him, in my opinion, would be if he moves up to Canelo and maybe Boots. And that's a maybe.
I just typed in my old channel name. If y'all go into my other channel name and you type in Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, I've been telling people for 5 years he was gonna get dominated. Now when it comes,
dominated him.
Oh, he dominated. When it comes to Canelo Alvarez, Terrence has the opportunity to beat him, but the weight advantage I think is scary. Canelo is not that skilled as far as Terrence Crawford is, but
he's not as athletic as Crawford. But he has skills because Canelo has very good defense, underrated. He's a good counter puncher.
No, Canelo don't have no good defense. Canelo can't dodge a jab.
You see them jabs he was dodging with Danny Jacobs?
That's Danny Jacobs. Go back and watch Bivol and go back and watch Floyd Mayweather. Watch how many times he got hit in the face with a jab. Well, just look. Canelo ain't got good defense.
Terrence Crawford is not as big as Bivol. And Canelo is not the same Canelo from the Floyd Mayweather fight.
But if you put a jab in front of him, Canelo Alvarez really can do nothing. Canelo's style is come close to you, throw 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. If you put a jab in his face and move, you can beat Canelo Alvarez. If you can if you can stand in front of Canelo Alvarez and counterpunch him, he loses. He loses.
So for you, the weight difference will be the thing for Canelo, not the skill.
Weight difference and the steroid usage would be a major difference because Terrence is such a threat that I know Canelo Alvarez will use steroids. He will use steroids.
I don't think he would take that fight because it's a lose-lose. Because if you lose, you're going to lose to a guy that moved up all them weight classes. And if you win, you're not really going to get the type of credit.
Let me ask you this. If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, is Terrence the greatest fighter of all time?
No. One of them.
Why?
Not the greatest, but one of them.
And who would surpass him as the greatest fighter of all time, in your opinion?
For me, right now, the top 5, my top 5 in order. I'm gonna give it to you right now.
Past and present. Who would top him? Who would exclude him from being the greatest of all time?
Sugar Ray Robinson?
Hell no. Sugar Ray Robinson ain't been undisputed twice.
Yeah, but we're talking about regardless of the belts, because Adrian Broner is the 4th division champion.
You can't take regardless of the belts. Undisputed is undisputed. There's only one fighter that can stand in front of Terrence Crawford as the greatest of all time when you're talking about belts and undisputed, and that's Homicide Hank. And Homicide Hank didn't go up 2 divisions, and which hold on, I can't say that he never went up 2 divisions, but Terrence is going up 2 divisions, and if he beats Canelo Alvarez with the undisputed titles, he becomes undisputed 3 times and moved up twice. Who else has done it?
It's a discussion, but I also like to go by the guys that they beat. I mean, that would be a huge win, right? But how much of an underdog will Crawford be? I don't think Crawford would be that much of an underdog. But when you see guys get wins where people think they have absolutely no shot, that means more. You know what I mean? Like, example, when Roberto Duran moved up at 37 years old to fight Iran Barkley, who had knocked out the guy that knocked Duran out, and Barkley did it twice. People gave Duran no shot at all. So for me, Roberto Duran moving up to 160, starting his career at 119 to beat Iran Barkley would be bigger as far as odds-wise, because Canelo and Bud, I don't think the odds are going to be that much apart.
You want to know why? Because they saw the same thing. They saw that this was a bigger fighter. The same thing they did with Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. The same thing they did with Gervonta Davis versus Frank Davis. A lot of people don't know shit about boxing. They look at size and they look at weight and they think that it's an advantage. It's about skills. Skills pay the bills in boxing. It's not about how big your muscles are. It's not about how tall you are. It's not about how fast you are. It's about skills and knowledge. That's what boxing is. Let me welcome Bill Boot Camp. How you doing, my brother? What's your opinion on what the topic we're talking about?
Oh man, I just hear y'all talking about salute to you, Easy. Brother, you need to get that Easy E motherfucking thing and start your show off with that. Easy. Yeah, everybody come on. But anyway, I just think that Terrence Crawford beat Canelo easy. Once he figure him out, man, it's like y'all act like we talking about Canelo like he a light heavyweight, and he always been a light heavyweight, and that's not the case. Floyd punished him when he was young. He older now. So what you think Bud gonna do to him? I mean, yeah, it's a weight difference, but Bud taller than him, his arm length longer. I mean, and he the most dangerous fighter in boxing. I mean, all they got to do is wait till after the 3rd round, say, Bud, you down. He might try to knock motherfucking Canelo head off. You know what I mean? But, and T.O. just needs to chill out because, dude, just call out people around your weight. Don't even worry about calling out Crawford.
Exactly.
Call out Tank or somebody or, Pitbull or, somebody around there because you really – it's just gonna get you gonna get a check to get knocked out in the 1st round because I think Crawford ain't gonna play with you because all the shit you be talking.
Teofimo Lopez should really fight for Rodnix if he wants to solidify. And I always say this: Jack Catterall is really the man at 140. He beat Josh Taylor when he was undefeated, and nobody gave him. They robbed him. So
you gotta think about it, Easy. That oh boy, Keyshawn been calling out T.O. and he tried to brush it off. Shakur calling out T.O. He tried to brush it off, but he tell them to stay in their lane, but he want to call out Crawford. It's
now,
like
I can respect Shakur Stevenson, but Keyshawn Davis, go holler at Andy Cruz, Kid Austin, go holler at Frank Martin.
Man, since you said that, what you think about Kid Austin?
Kid Austin is a Sean Porter. He needs to be. He needs another trainer besides his father.
He got a glitch, don't he?
Yeah,
he got a glitch. You see that glitch? Like he rub his shorts. Like before he about to go into punch mode, he rub his shorts or something like that. He got a glitch. I told my homeboy that.
he's another Sean Porter. But if Kid Austin would, and this no disrespect to his father at all, you made your son get to where he's at, but step aside for a minute and put him in, let him get in there with somebody who's gonna show him a jab and stop lunging. Kid Austin would be a deadly fighter like Sean Porter should have been a deadly fighter if Kenny Porter would have just stepped aside for a minute.
Yeah. But I just think, that the father-son dynamic, you don't want nobody to fuck your child over. And then if he lose, you're going to feel like you not left your child hung out to dry. You know what I mean? Especially if they're undefeated. You know what I'm saying? But see, this the wake-up call for Bill Haney. Like, you know now that you need to get your son somebody else because you just got a wake-up call. You got your zero back, but it's some bullshit. But,
Let me ask you something. What's your name, champ?
Say again?
What's your name, champ?
Bill's Boot Camp, man. I'm everywhere.
What's up, man? Low Nose Boxing, man. Salute to you. Being that we're talking about the Haneys right now, and with everything going on with Devin Haney doing what he did to reverse his record, and then they say that he tried to get the fight removed from YouTube and the zone. Do you believe that maybe it is true that he did get a loss removed in Mexico, being that he's doing what he's doing now, as far as taking it to the extreme with the zone and YouTube and all that stuff?
Yes, I do.
So do I.
Because I'm sorry.
It is what it is.
Go ahead, Bills.
I mean, I just think it is what it is. I think, after you get your ass beat, you're going to go to the extreme, And
if we saw him just do that, where he went to the extreme over a loss. Me personally, I still to this day don't believe Ryan Garcia cheated him. I don't. I believe Victor Conte situation. I believe they paid Victor Conte in 11 days. 11 days after, and we finally find out that he was guilty of using PD.
Nah, easy. It wasn't Victor Conte. It was that dude that he said it was. Came in at the last minute.
Scooter. The guy named Scooter that Ryan was talking about.
Yep. He ain't part of the camp.
It's possibly so, but no. I believe, yes, that Devin Haney lost in Mexico, like they said, and they got it took. I believe it's possible. Even though
Where does Devin go from here?
If you did it before, you'll do it again.
Where does Devin Haney go from here?
Devin Haney
back to the drawing board.
He needs to break because mentally, from his aspirations and what he thought he was as a fighter, and getting embarrassed like that. And I say this about all fighters. When he come back, he needs tune-up fights. He need at least tune-up fights to win, get his confidence back, and then he steps up to the plate and try to challenge somebody. But right now, no. It's blood in the water for him.
How do you see Devin versus Teofimo Lopez right now?
Right now, loss. Puello would beat the hell out of Devin Haney right now.
Now, with me, I think that fight lost its luster right now, being that the way Devin got beat. I was telling somebody that why should Teo give Devin Haney a shot? Because like I was talking about fighting common opponents, you want to fight a common opponent that look good. That's why I'm okay with Teo fighting Pitbull, because if you beat Pitbull better than Tank, is a good look. And if you don't, so what? Pitbull gave Tank a tough fight. But with Devin Haney, if Teo knock out Devin Haney, they're not going to give him no credit because Ryan destroyed him. And if Teo struggles, they're going to say you struggle with a guy that's broken. So for me, Devin will have to do something special in order to make himself an attractive fight. That's like when Floyd fought Manny. Floyd wasn't going to fight Manny coming off the knockout to Marquez. Manny had to do something after that. So Devin going to have to do something to get a Teo fight, in my opinion.
Devin Haney right now, the last thing he needs is a highlighted fighter like Teofimo Lopez or somebody like that. We just seen that one of the reason that Teofimo has problems is if you apply pressure on him. Devin doesn't apply pressure. He's coming off a loss. His confidence is not there. Right now, Devin needs to chill. That devastating loss, the way they were saying that it was the Devin Haney era, this and that. Trust me, the reason he chose to be a champion in recess was for a good reason. He's not mentally there right now. He has to come back and get confidence fights. If he doesn't, going against even with a Sergio Matias who just lost, he'll lose. He's not there. You got to think about just everybody I advise you go back and watch the highlights of him and Ryan Garcia devastated that boy, man.
And he showed no ring IQ. He kept getting hit with the same left hook over and over.
He said that Ryan Garcia was a C- fighter. And
that's what made it worse.
But you gotta look at it though, man. He gonna end up like Adrian Broner, man. And I said, ain't nobody gonna hit him harder. Like I said about AB, ain't nobody gonna hit him harder than Maidana. So he should let his hands go. You showed you got a chin. You showed you can get up. Devin Haney kept getting the fuck up. So you should be unfearful because you not been knocked down. You not got up every time. It ain't like you got stopped in the middle of the ring and motherfucking counted you out. You know you can take a motherfucking punch. So you should be letting your motherfucking hands go. It should be more dog in you.
It's arguable that fight should have been stopped. He got dropped more than 3-4 times. That what the referee said. That you know what that fight looked like to me. I don't know if you ever seen this fight before. Do you remember when Felix Trinidad fought David Reed? Remember that fight?
I saw that fight when I was a young boy.
David Reed was doing good with his athleticism early. By the 7th round, when Trinidad hit him with that left hook and dropped him, the whole fight, he was dropping David Reed almost every single round. David Reed, to his credit, made it to the 12th round, but he took a beating. That's what the Ryan Garcia fight looked like with Devin Haney. And David Reed wasn't the same after that.
And that was his last fight, if I ain't mistaken, right?
Yeah, Trinidad ended his career. David Reed already had an issue with his eye, though. He had a droopy eye, but that fight demoralized him.
Prime example, Lomachenko versus Nicholas Waters. You remember the X-Man? Who back now?
Yeah.
It mentally fucks you. I hate to say it on my channel, but I got to say it. It mentally fucks you up when fighters get losses like that.
Yo, Easy, that's why we got to give respect to the fighters that bounce back from bad losses. Because I made a video about that on my channel. I was talking about fighters that have bounced back from bad losses and fighters that didn't. We've seen a lot of great fighters that took losses and were never the same. And on the flip side, we've seen a lot of great fighters that took bad losses and came back and accomplished more stuff. It takes
let me ask y'all something.
George Foreman.
Let me ask y'all something. You know, this is a boxing channel. I talk football, but you know, I'm always on the boxing channel for some reason. But so just name one of your favorite fighters of all time. It ain't got to be the best. I mean, just one of your favorite fighters of all time. Because sometimes people want to know that they think we just slacking on boxing and just jump in. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you mine. It was Samuel Peters, the Nigerian Nightmare. I swear to God, if he had some stamina, that dude would have been that man.
I'm going to say Floyd Mayweather. And I talk shit about him all the time, but I've never seen another fighter with his entire skill set, ever. Okay. I think fighters do. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish you go say what you were saying.
No, I've never seen. I done watched Willie Pelps. I done watched all the greats. I done watched Salvador Sanchez. The most all-around fighter that I've ever seen. And this is not just saying because he's rich or because he got money. I've never seen no fighter do what Floyd Mayweather could do in the ring.
Okay, now to answer your question, you asking, Bill, you asking us who we feel is the greatest, or just who our personal favorite is?
No, it's just personal favorite. It ain't got to be the best. Yeah, Samuel Peters wasn't the best. You know what I'm saying? But I just believed in him. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. All right. So the biggest fighter that I rooted for, I'm gonna say this: me, Puerto Rican, and everything like that. Every time Felix Trinidad fought, man, that felt like a Puerto Rican festival. Trinidad, I never rooted for a fighter the way I rooted for Trinidad, and it hurt me the most when I seen him lose. So I definitely got to say Felix Tito Trinidad is my all-time favorite. As far as who I feel is the greatest, Sugar Ray Robinson and Floyd Mayweather. But my favorite personal was Felix Tito Trinidad.
Respect. Respect.
I mean,
I'm not rooting against him with anybody.
I mean,
He's
my
definitely
favorite, my favorite was Floyd. Not Floyd, but motherfucking Roy. Roy is my guy, and I just feel like once his athleticism and he got caught, like when he started slowing down, you could see it. Like niggas was just bomb rushing him then, but before that, before the Tarver fight, and niggas said, you ready for this, Roy? You got any excuses? Before that, like niggas couldn't touch him. And I seen that punch before it happened because I was cooking some motherfucking chicken wings, and goddamn, by the time I could turn around, that motherfucker was laying on the ground. I was madder than a motherfucker.
You know what's crazy, bro?
Hey.
Roy Jones, right? Roy Jones for me in a fantasy matchup with anybody from 160 to 168, prime for prime, I pick Roy over anybody. And Roy is a perfect example of what I was just saying earlier about a great fighter that took a bad loss and he was never able to bounce back and reclaim greatness after that loss. That's an example of somebody that couldn't, you know what I mean, that never did after that. James
Yeah,
Toney took losses and came back and did more great things. Roy, after that loss, never accomplished more greatness. He won fights, but to reclaim greatness, no, he didn't.
I think when it came to Roy, it was the simple fact of Roy was built off his athleticism. When he got older, he couldn't do the same things that he could do when he was younger, and that contributed to his losses.
And then that weight gain, and then that weight loss, that had a lot to do with it too. Plus, he was 36 years old, I believe, or 37.
Cause see, a lot of people say this about Roy Jones. Roy Jones can say he the greatest, this and other. But when you compare the age frame from him and Floyd left undefeated about the same age that Roy Jones Jr. did because Floyd had what? Skill set.
Fundamentals. He had better fundamentals. Yeah.
Fundamentals. Roy Jones was built off his attributes and what God gave him. Once he got older and he started to lose that, and the fact that he was fluctuating weight and going there, I give him that. But also, Roy Jones was using steroids. Let's not forget that. He was on steroids. Mm-hmm. Once he got older, all that went away. And that's
why B-Hop had more longevity too, because B-Hop had better fundamentals, even though he lost to Roy when they were both younger. But B-Hop had better fundamentals, you know, and that's why with the athleticism, you gotta have fundamentals. Because Floyd had the athleticism as well, but Floyd had fundamentals. You know, James Toney had fundamentals.
Yeah, but going up and down, man, they kind of did it, man. If he would have stayed, you know, where he was at, like Floyd did, or move up, you know, a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Roy would have been the best of all time. But he tried to go to heavyweight, then come back down. Then, you know what I mean? He was just trying to do too motherfucking much.
Yeah, he was trying to do too much. I respect it because he was trying to solidify himself as great. But I think that he only moved up to Duck Tall. That's what nobody mentioned. Why would you move up when you got a contender right there who's screaming your name, and then you're going to come back down and fight him? That's the same thing that just recently happened with other fighters. Come on, I can't think of anything. Come on, get it to me. Where fighters have moved up to dodge opponents at their weight class. Canelo done did it. How you doing today? Moving up to dodge fighters at their weight class. Who else did?
Floyd didn't want to fight Paul Williams now.
I mean, I can understand Paul Williams. That's about moving up into another weight class when you have a contender right there. And even right now, to be honest with you, I could possibly even mention Bud name. Jamel Charlo did it. Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu was right there wanting to fight him.
You know who else did it too? Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton. Those guys moved out of their weight classes because they was ducking Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Exactly.
Rigondeaux, man, was one. Let me ask you a question. Being that we talking about Roy, I got Roy personally on my top 10 all-time great. What's your?
Oh, you went out. You'll have to come back in. Your mic went out.
Let me see. Hold on.
All right, you back. I hear you now.
All right. What's your not what your favorite is? What's your top 5 all-time great in order? Who you feel is the top 5? Both of y'all. Then I'll give y'all mine.
Damn.
Top 5.
Great.
I mean, that's too hard. I got to think about that one, bro.
Yeah, I really got to think about that.
I'll give you mine then. I gotta go with Sugar Ray Robinson #1. You're welcome, brother. Thanks. Sugar Ray Robinson #1. I gotta go with Floyd Mayweather #2.
Mm-mm.
#3, gotta go with Muhammad Ali.
No.
#4, this is my 5. Number 4, I gotta go with
I'll
Sugar
be
Ray
back.
Leonard.
Easy. I'll be back.
And #5, I gotta go with Roberto Duran. That's my top 5.
Them good names, but me, I totally go off Undisputed first because it's the most biggest acknowledgement in the sport of boxing. So first, I will go with Homicide Hank. I don't know why a lot of people pick Sugar Ray Robinson when he. Nobody mentions that he ducked Charlie Burley, for years. I go with Sugar Ray Robinson. I'll go with Homicide Hank. Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, simply because of all the stuff he did outside of boxing, which shouldn't be counted, but a lot of people consider him the greatest, and he never ducked nobody. Who else? If we talking about Undisputed, in my opinion, I say Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest, and Evander Holyfield. I won't say Terrence Crawford until he gets his third Undisputed, but I really can't say who will be my last pick.
Gotcha. Easy work out. I wanna pick your brain a bit because we was talking earlier before we started talking about the Teofimo subject. I was touching on the video that you had made about the elites in boxing, bro. That was a real good video you made, by the way, man. And I remember, I don't know if you want to speak on it, but you had mentioned something about, I'm not going to say the names, but some of the female fighters, whether it's boxing.
You went out. I think I already know which fighter you finna name. And if you're talking about Clarissa Shields, I do not and can't stand Clarissa Shields because I know a lot of people gonna look at me crazy. I done brought this up before when I told y'all about Tank Davis saying that she was I ain't gonna say was saying that Clarissa Shields was Jamuana man. Y'all gonna have to understand we live in a time where makeup and hormone pills can do a lot. And I'm telling y'all, I will put my right hand on the Bible and swear to y'all, that is not a female boxer. It's not. Just think about it. I always want to challenge men. The sports writers and the reporters of boxing always put this person at the low pedestal in boxing. And they always say something about it. And you have to understand why. And she's not, hold on, I'll say she's not the only one who's like that in boxing.
So you stand on that?
Just because you see a big butt, hormone pills, you cannot change male and female anatomy. Men's navels are low to the bottom. Women's navel are high at their indent and their waist. Look at Clarissa Shields. You can't change male and female anatomy. I don't care about what you see about the little breasts that just showed up out of nowhere. Never had them when they was coming up in the amateurs or nothing like that. Money is money. Money pays for a lot of things, surgeries, a lot of things, hormone pills. I'm not knocking this person. As a black person, keep doing your thing and keep getting your bread. But that is not the greatest woman of all time. It's not. It's not. Go to the sports. I want everybody to do this who think I'm lying. Go to the Sports Illustrated edition where Clarissa Shields was on there and look at that body shape and tell me that that's not a dude. Tell me that's not a dude. I'm speaking real with you. I don't hate this person or nothing like that. I always want to challenge men. Tank Davis just recently got on there and said Joanna Man. Who was Joanna Man? Joanna Man was an NBA player that portrayed himself as a woman to continue playing basketball. Why would Tank say that?
Wow.
Tank could have said.
I didn't even know he said going back and forth with her, but I didn't know he said that.
Go look it up. Tank could have said anything in his word about her. She ugly. She this, she that. You ain't a pretty woman. Why did Tank just come out and say, you are Joanna Man?
Ryan said some stuff about her too, right?
I can't recall. I've never heard Ryan say anything about her, honestly. But I know for a fact, Tank called Clarissa Shields Joanna Man.
Wow, it's crazy.
Trinity say Clarissa and Alicia. Please don't say Alicia. Please don't say Alicia. Okay, you say I'm tripping. I understand it. I may lose subscribers, but the truth is the truth. You don't see it because you see makeup and you see a big butt.
The video that I saw you make, it wasn't Alicia. You didn't mention Alicia, but you mentioned Ronda Rousey.
Oh, Ronda Rousey is a dude too. Chris Cyborg is a dude. The lady who beat Ronda Rousey, what's her name with the blonde hair? I can't think of her name right now. She was a fighter, a boxer too. The first lady that beat Ronda Rousey, a dude. Clarissa Shields, go look at her fight when she was her first fight in the MMA against the Mexican so-called girl. That was a dude. You could clearly see this. I'm not hating. I wouldn't dare sit up and lie to y'all. I promise y'all on my soul. I got the Holy Bible right here. My right hand to my most high. I would not just sit up here and tell y'all this because I just hate somebody. I'm telling you the God's given truth. I don't have to have proof. You need to find it for yourself and look and open your eyes. Use your third eye. I am not lying to you. That is a man. That's a man. Why would Tank Davis say that's Joanna Man? Harley Holmes, that's a Buddy Lee. Harley Holmes is a dude. You cannot change. Before you say I'm lying, go look up male and female anatomy. Men navels are low. Women navels are high towards where their waist indents. You cannot change that. You can also cannot change how our fingers are. Our indexes, this finger right here, is something it shows. I can't remember right now because I don't want to lie, but it'll show the difference. It's I'm telling y'all.
That's crazy. I know that goes down. I'm trying to look up Clarissa Shields' pictures when she was a kid. I can't find them.
I like this right here. I like what he said. Tank ain't no authority, but Tank behind the scenes of boxing. It's a brotherhood and sisterhood that go on in the sport of boxing just as well as entertainment, my brother. If you see them on TV, whether you believe it or not, I don't care how much they scream Jesus, you have to pay a price to be on TV. You have to pay a price to be on TV. The same. Marvin Hagler never got a title shot until he signed a contract. He was one of the best boxers in the world. He never got a title shot until he signed a contract with a promotion.
Well, I believe that they do got the doors. You know what I'm saying? The doors that you got to walk through. And speaking of, and being that we're talking about Christianity right now with the industry, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not perfect. I'm a Christian, but I'm not perfect. And I don't like how Ryan Garcia carries it as a Christian. The way and we all mess up in God's eyes. We all fall short of the glory. But to 1 minute you saying praise Jesus, and then the next breath you talking about I'm paying for BBLs, inviting people to your private parts and all that. It's like a mockery. You feel what I'm saying? It's
See,
a mockery to do it in the same breath. When I see a fighter that conducts himself like a Christian man, I look at guys like Andre Ward. Look
see,
at guys like Manny Pacquiao.
let
You
me
feel
let me
me?
yeah, I feel you. Let me answer this. So somebody saying you believe what Tank say. No, I know what I say.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm not you. I believe what I say. See, certain people in this world, God show you stuff differently. People, I done been homeless. I done been drug addicted. I done asked God to show me everything. And I'm telling you, from my heart and my soul, I know for a fact that is not a woman, bro. As far as you saying Anthony Davis, easy as masculine as Ann Wolf is, ask Ann Wolf to show you a picture where she was pregnant. Ask Ann Wolf to show you a sonogram. Children can be adopted. They have money. They're rich. They're stable.
Ronda Rousey was pregnant though, man.
Where's the proof?
And I seen pictures of her when she was a child. I'm looking at them now.
Have you ever looked up the fact that they have baby bumps? Remember when Beyonce was with Jay-Z and she sat down on a talk show and her stomach caved in when she was supposed to be pregnant?
I seen something like that.
Yeah,
I did
okay.
see that.
Yeah. Remember that when Beyonce was supposed to be pregnant by Jay-Z and she sat
Yeah.
down in that chair and her stomach caved in?
It looked weird.
Oh, it ain't weird. Pregnant people's stomach don't cave in. It was a belly bump. Go look up on the internet yourself and Google belly bumps. They're fake bellies for people who want to play pregnant. Remember Beyonce shut down the whole floor to have a baby? Who does that? Who does that? A pregnant woman shutting down the whole floor just to have a child? Paying?
That's
Okay.
awkward.
I could go on and on.
So you think what Tio was saying was right, basically? That Tio was saying that he think Ryan is part of it.
Ryan is not part of it. Ryan exposed stuff that got him in trouble. This whole situation with Devin Haney and about the Astorine and this and that, they want to put Ryan Garcia out of boxing. Ryan Garcia.
And remember, they went to them Diddy parties too.
Ryan Garcia lucky he ain't dead.
So them Diddy, that Diddy stuff, man, it goes on in boxing too.
Have you noticed he shut up? Have you noticed he don't mention stuff like that no more?
He slowed down with it.
Okay. Once you go to getting them threats, because see, you got to remember this.
Yo, Chip, I got to get off. My supervisor's calling me. Yo, thank you for having me on the platform.
Okay. Before I get off,
you have a good one, man. Yo, subscribe to my channel, bro.
All right. LO Knows Boxing, y'all subscribe to his channel. Y'all got to remember this. Ryan Garcia signed up for what he's involved in. The only difference with Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia hard can't take what he sees. Ryan Garcia is really a good person that sold out, and he can't deal with the fact that he sold out. That's Ryan Garcia's problem. If you really want to know the truth, you have to pay the price to be on TV. I don't care who they is, Terrence Crawford, Boots Ennis, all of them are Masons. All of them are Masons. The problem with Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia can't deal with what he's seen. That's Ryan Garcia's problem. Ryan can't deal with what he's seen because Ryan Garcia is naturally a good person. The person you see Ryan becoming, telling people to inviting them to his private area and all that, that's because Ryan can't handle what he's came across. Ryan is not crazy. A lot of people think he's crazy. But people gonna believe what they're gonna believe. This is a war for souls. And the people you see on TV, even your newscasters, people you see and watch the news every day, if you really research and look, they tell you the same thing from state to state that other states are saying on the news. Y'all have to understand that Caesar created entertainment, and Caesar created entertainment to blindfold the people. Boxing, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, tennis, whatever sport you want to talk about. Caesar created it so you wouldn't worry about what Caesar is doing. And that's all it is today. All of them are involved, y'all. And I hate to tell you, I don't even like to talk about this on my channel because people get mad at me. Caesar created entertainment so people wouldn't ask and worry about what Caesar was doing. So while you sitting up here arguing and saying I'm lying, or you sitting up here saying I don't know what I'm talking about, you got to remember what Caesar did. You got to remember what Caesar did. And I ain't talking about the monkey from Planet of the Apes. I'm not talking about the monkey from the Planet of the Apes. I'm talking about the King Caesar. He created all this. The Renaissance era books and all that, so people wouldn't worry about what Caesar was doing. They're all involved. They're all involved. You should know the world is corrupted when teachers and police officers get paid less than people you see on TV. If that ain't common sense, I don't know what to tell you. If that ain't common sense, I don't know what to tell you. A teacher don't get paid. A police officer don't get paid. People in the military don't really get paid. But somebody who could stand in front of a camera and lie to you multiple times and act this, that, and the other gets millions of dollars. Just think. But I've been on for a long time now. I tell you nothing but the truth. I don't make up stories. I ain't got to lie on nobody. I don't hate nobody. I just give you what God loves. And at the end of the day, if you like it, you're going to like it. And if you don't, you don't. If you don't like it, then you don't. But you got to research for yourself. You got to pick up that Bible and read it yourself. Read the Bible. Don't go to church and listen to no man. Read the Bible yourself. He tell you that. You're supposed to know the Bible for yourself, not through no man. Once you read it, you'll understand a lot of stuff in this world. And a lot of y'all ain't read it, so you won't understand. But this your boy Easy, and I'm out.